Hi VC, it's Aaron, Mutha Alamere. Today I'm responding to a thread by my good friend Chris Propfe. And everybody sub to Chris Propfe's Musically Obsessed. And he's got a great channel, really great guy. And he has a thread called Feed My Vinyl Addiction. So I am going to show 5 records that I would recommend to him specifically to buy and for everybody else as well. These are just great records and they're not that well known. So I'm going to start off with a power pop band. This is New Adventures. And this is a really great band. They're a trio, of course. And they're just high energy, great rock band. There they are in the back playing. And the song Come On is just so good. But this whole album is great. Space Slab, Cowboy, Money, Backdoor Lovers is great. They do a really cool version of You Can't Do That, the Beatles song. And it's really, really, really good. Rock and Roll Women. Jeannie Dance is great. Amazing album that I had just discovered a couple years ago. They're not as well known as a lot of them. A lot of the bands, from the early 80s like this. I think this was 1980. Really killer power pop if you're into that kind of stuff. Kind of got a heavy edge to it, but it's not hard rock metal. But it's got a good edge to it. So it's really good. Next up, this is a grunge band that kind of slipped through the cracks for me, and I discovered them when it was repressed onto vinyl. This is Hater. Amazing record, and it's a grunge classic that not too many people know about. It's kind of like a garage grunge sound, and what it is Ben Shepherd from Soundgarden, there he is, Matt Cameron, who was in Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, all those bands, and also Brian Wood. There he is right there. That's Andrew Wood from Mother Love Bone's brother. So him and Ben Shepherd share the vocal duties, and it's an amazing record. They start off with the Cat Stevens song Mona Bone Jack On, and it's really good. Best version of that you'll ever hear. And they do Who Do I Kill is next, really high energy grunge. Lion and Lamb reminds me a lot of Whale and Wasp from Alice in Chains, a really cool instrumental. Roadside, it's kind of got a Mother Love Bone vibe to it. Down Under Shoe does as well. Putrid is amazing. Sad McBain, just an amazing grunge album. And I can't believe I didn't know about this back in the 90s because I would have been all over this. And it's a great album. Next up, this is one of my favorite bands from the late 80s. I believe it was late 80s. Let's see. 92. Never mind. This is Live, Sex, and Death with the Silent Majority. And this album is unlike any of the hard rock metal records from that time. They have a singer named Stanley who supposedly was a homeless guy. There he is right there, but actually he was a metal singer that kind of changed his look. There's a whole big story that Cosmic Brian can tell you about it. It's pretty cool because he saw them live, and they're a pretty interesting story he has. But this album is just so amazing. It's almost heavy, almost not quite thrash, but almost there at times, just with a really heavy edge. But the interesting thing is Stanley, the singer, the first song, Blue Velvet Moon, We're Here Now, it's almost like you're hearing this weird lounge singing thing, and all of a sudden it kicks in, and it's just straight on hard rock metal. And Schools for Fools, Hey Buddy, Train and Tank. I'm a Tank, such a good song. Big Black Bush is hilarious. But the greatest song on here is this, Effin' Shit Ass. Sorry, I'm swearing a little. But it's just, you'll never hear another song like that. Has this really cool build-up intro, and then it kicks into the song. Never been another song like it in the history of music. It's just so amazing. This album I would highly recommend. Very unique, and once you hear it, it sticks in your head. Amazing record. Next up, I have a really great album from the early 80s, and it's a hard rock album. I would say it borders on metal, but it's kind of like in the Axe Offering vein, that type of heaviness. This is Hits. And this album is so good. I got it online, one of my few online purchases I got about 2 years ago, and I haven't stopped listening to it. It's just so catchy, such killer riffs, that hard rock, just energy. It kind of combines Axe Offering with maybe a Loverboy and Boston sound. It's just amazing goodness. And the thing that turns people off was the video for Backstabber. Backstabber is such a great song, but that video is cringeworthy. It's just seriously the worst video ever made, and I think that kind of bit them a little bit. But Lady of the Night, Love Blind, Backstabber, You're the One. It's just a classic after classic. Back on the Streets. Every song is just so good on this. I highly recommend this. Anyone that likes hard rock, check this album out. You won't be disappointed. It is so good. I love it. It's one of those that just puts me in a good mood, gives you energy. Great album. And next up, this is an album I call the best album AC/DC never put out. It's not AC/DC, and they're not really clones of them, but this is the debut from Rhino Bucket. And this album is like AC/DC, but slightly heavier. Kind of similar vocals, similar that just pumped up metal sound, hard rock, whatever you want to call it. And it's just an amazing album. One Night Stand, Beg for Your Love, Train Ride, Even the Sun Goes Down. Every song, I'd Rather Go Insane is one of my very favorites. This album is so good. There's the label there, kind of an interesting reprise. But this album is just so good. And I call it the best album AC/DC never did. It's like a heavy AC/DC record, but it's not really, they're not total clones, but just kind of that sound. And this album is killer, amazing. And there's my 5, but being me, I'm going to throw in an extra. So this is my extra, and this is my favorite covers album I've ever heard. And I really like Anthems from Anthrax. That's one of my favorite cover albums. The Ace Frehley ones I love. There's a few others that are just really great cover albums. I tend to like cover albums better than when they put a cover song on an album, because it tends to be like a full album feel thing. But this here is Eagles of Death Metal presents Boots Electric performing your favorite songs that they didn't write, or something like that we never wrote. And this album is so good. And Boots Electric is a member of Eagles of Death Metal. He's the singer, guitarist, and it's basically just a solo project from him. But this is just, he changes these songs to fit his style so well. It starts off with God of Thunder from Kiss. Here's the track list, and I'll kind of talk about him. But God of Thunder, he sings it in the Paul Stanley style. If you've ever heard the Paul Stanley demo of God of Thunder, it's more like that, and it's really great. And then he does a cover of It's So Easy, the Guns N' Roses song. And that one he kind of slows down, makes it a little more bluesy, and it's really good. And after that, there's High Voltage / It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll. Those 2 AC/DC songs, and he melds them into one. And it's really a kick-ass version of both of those songs, but melded together. They kind of just blend together, and it's really cool. A version of So Alive, I believe that's Love and Rockets, and that is really good. Beat on the Brat, the Ramones song, and they do it really mellow, and it's amazing. Just, I love it. Abracadabra, the Steve Miller song, you'll never hear it the same way again. It's really killer. He has a female vocalist, I believe it's his girlfriend, doing background vocals, and it's just an amazing version, my favorite version of that. But the most surprising stuff is on the second side, where we got Careless Whisper, the Wham song. And it's a heavy metal version of Careless Whisper, and it has Mark Turenne from Bullet Boys doing background vocals at the end. You can't really tell unless you're really hearing for it and you know his voice. But he does the background vocals at the end. It's really cool. But the most unique song is Family Affair. It's the Mary J. Blige song. A hip-hop song, and only he could do it like this. It's just an amazing sounding song. My sister, who actually likes that song a lot, heard this and goes, oh my god, that's better than the original by a million miles, and it really is. It's just amazing. And then they got The Hunger on here, Long Slow Goodbye. I just dropped in to see what condition my condition would be. The first edition Kenny Rogers song is really good. Trouble is amazing on here. And Moon Age Daydream, the David Bowie song. It's just an amazing, best cover album ever made. If you get a chance to hear this, listen to this record. So there you go, Chris. I threw in 6, and I will be talking to you next Thursday, and have a great one, everyone.